What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norm Radd89 here, bringing you another video today. And for today's video, we're going to continue our Puppet Master review series, and now we are on to Access Rising, and this one is just a ton of silly, campy fun. It's almost borderline like a soft-core porno. It's freaking hilarious. Like, it's really out there. There's some just scenes that just the actors go for it really in this one. And like I said, I can't wait to talk about this one because I have a lot of fun with this one. And this was actually a first time watch for me when I was doing the review series and watching all the films and everything. A bunch of them I've all seen multiple times, but when we got to this one and all the ones after this one, so that's Access Termination, Blade Iron Cross, and Littlest Reich, all those were first time watches for me. So let's get down to the positives, the negatives, and then the rating for this film, and then I'll send you all home. But of course, that just means it's just my opinions and my thoughts, and I would love to hear from all of you in the comments section. Drop your thoughts down below. Now let's do this. Roll it. So Access Rising takes off pretty much right after our previous film where we follow Danny and Beth, the same characters, but what's different about that is that we have two new actors. They recasted both Danny and Beth, but the good positive that leans into that is I actually think the actors do a better job in this film as our leads. You know, for Danny and Beth, I think they're much more serviceable and they're better actors. I like the story of that other film better, and it's more enjoyable and better, more rewatchable, that first Access film. But I think the acting in this one's a little bit better. Plus, a lot of the actors kind of know, too, that they're leaning into, like, much more campy, silly nature in this film. So, but also the story of this one is that Danny and Beth are now being taken by the U.S. Army, and Danny wants to help them to even thwart the war efforts of the Nazis even more and stop them because the Nazis, Mobius ends up stealing, the Nazi agent stealing one of the puppets, and they have this doctor that's kind of, you know, captured and in hiding, and they want to recreate a serum so that they can bring the soldiers back to life and basically make them an unstoppable force, you know what I mean, of 100 soldiers, like undead kind of Nazi agents and stuff like that. And then Danny and Beth want to go around and help Sergeant Stone, I believe, is the guy who gets teamed up with them. So we have a sergeant with them from the U.S. Army, and they want to use the puppets, Blade and all them, and, you know, Jester and Pinhead to help take out Mobius and his army, because that doctor actually ends up, he's a puppet master too. He likes making puppets and woodwork. Fancy that, you know what I mean? But he actually wants to create his own crew, so he creates like Blitzkrieg and Bombshell and all these cool evil puppets. So in this one, we actually have like some antagonist characters for our good puppets. So that's what's really cool, is like this one, it plays on the whole, like there's actually going to be kind of a sick battle and a war going on in this film. Also get Stealth 6-shooter in here. I must talk about that because I love different versions of the puppets. I love when they do it right and correctly, not like Curse of Puppet Master. Like they fuck up Jester in that one so bad, but this one they do some cool stuff. Like we got Stealth Pinhead, and we get a stealth version of 6-shooter with the black outfit and stuff like that. So that's really cool. This one, another fun thing about this film is this is kind of like silly softcore porn. There's a lot of like flirty, teasy lines in here, especially when it comes to our doctor who's captured and Stephanie Sanditz, who's our like Nazi agent girl. And oh man, Fraulein is gorgeous. She is by far one of the most fantastic women we've ever had in this franchise, because not just because she's gorgeous, she is fantastically beautiful, but she's good at knowing what kind of film she's in, and she just goes for it, the campy ride. Even her Nazi accent, it's kind of like her German accent. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of off-putting, like not really good, but she leans into it. She's hilarious, and she just chews up the freaking scenery whenever she's on screen. And another great positive with this film is, like I said, we have actual antagonist characters that I find enjoyable, fun to be around. They're funny and everything, and then they're also kind of threatening in terms of what they want to do, like making an undead army and stuff like that. They have an actual villain plot that you can get behind, and you're like, oh man, that's undead Nazi agents that you can't stop. That sounds kind of messed up. And then, you know, we have the doctor who's a puppet that's under their control, or the puppet master, and they use him to create these evil puppets that are going to fight, you know, the other Toulon puppets. So I think it's fantastic that we have probably If I was to think in my head, I would say probably my favorite group of antagonists for Toulon's puppets are in this film. Other things, though, we have to lean into talking about some other things because this isn't a perfect movie. It's definitely very low budget, and you can tell the budget is shrinking and shrinking. We have pretty much just these set rooms, you know what I mean? These one room set rooms, and you can just tell that everything, the props, the sets, it just has like this cheap nature to it, almost like a television movie type vibe to it. You know, it's not necessarily awful, it's just that's the feeling you get when you watch it. Some of the earlier Puppet Master films, what I love about Puppet Master 1, 2, 3, and even Puppet Master 4 is that you could have pictured those being on the big screen in the theaters. None of these films were released in theaters. Like, I must be clear with you, none. None of these 14 films were ever released theatrically in theaters. So where Puppet Master franchise makes all its dough and its money is off of those rentals, those old days with Video Update and Blockbuster, and then us buying the physical media copies of them like this when they re-release them on DVD or Blu-ray. That's where they make their huge money and stuff. So that's a fantastic thing that I love about the Puppet Master franchise. But definitely with this one, you can feel the low budget even more. The story, I would say it's very engaging, but it's not necessarily well written. It's a very engaging story, but I wanted more from it. And when you get to that third act, you'll kind of understand that they do go for it. And there's some dramatic moments, some jam-packed moments, some action moments, and the puppets do actually fight at a point in this movie. But I much rather wanted some more action, some more, just stakes. I wanted to feel more stakes, more threatening stuff going on, you know what I mean, kind of thing when it came to that third act. But still, Access Rising, this is very campy, silly fun. Like, if you're into those horror movies that just those actors know what they're in and they go for it and they kind of chew up the scenery with these ridiculous lines and stuff like that, you're probably really gonna like this film. And we do get a lot more puppet action. I really wish there was more stop motion animation in these films. There's not as much when you get to the later franchise or later films in this franchise. There's not as much stop motion animation, which does bother me a lot. So that's one thing that I really wish they would bring back as well, is the stop motion animation. But for me, in my book, as a rating, we have to nail down a rating for this film before we get out of here, is Access Rising is going to get a 6.5 out of 10. It's on the cusp. It's really on the cusp of being one of those really great, silly, awesome, campy films. It's above average. It's definitely above average because it's in the Puppet Master franchise. They go with the creativity of introducing new villainous puppets, and like some of our actors are just really amazing and hilarious. So that's why it really gets that respectable 6.5 rating. But like I said, it's a sliver on the cusp of being like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 film. And it could have did that with a higher budget, of course, and a more jam-packed, action-thrilled third act. And that would have definitely propelled this film into that 7 or 8 to 10 area. But like I said, these are just my thoughts, my opinions on Puppet Master Access Rising. That means let me know in the comment section what you think of this film, especially you, Jason. I know you're out there, Jason, the old millennial. Let me know what you think of this one. I know he had quite a fun time. Didn't give a very high star rating, I don't believe, you know what I mean? But for me, basically Stephanie Sanditz being in this movie and her character, just her character in general, and how freaking hot she is and how amazing she is in terms of the scenes and chewing up the scenery, she gets like easy like a 4 out of 10 in the film just because of her performance. So she's a standout. You really have to watch this movie just for her performance at least. But thanks for sticking around with me all for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you're on to the next one and you're with me when we get to Access Termination, and then we tackle the rest and rank them all. And I also got some other videos coming out that I'm planning. My black and white horror binge, I gotta start doing that. Gotta start pumping out those videos. I know a lot of people are waiting for those. And then I also wanted to do one on my Batman collection, but that's probably gonna be a very lengthy, very big video. Plus I gotta get a lot of information of like where I got the figures and where I got my collectibles. I want to have as much information about them and where they're from and stuff like that, so when I present the video to you guys, it's pretty awesome. So thanks for sticking around with me for this video to talk about Puppet Master Access Rising. But most importantly, I want you all to have a safe and happy day. Peace out.